was 22, I promised myself until the age of 30 to make it as an entrepreneur. And I didn't even know what that meant. I thought of it more in terms of being an inventor and coming up with something. I didn't really think of the whole business side of it. How you have a great idea and then you have to build a business around it. And I hadn't really thought that far, but ignorance is bliss, because if I had thought that far and knew what went into it, I probably would have been so scared that I wouldn't have been able to go forward. But I failed at my first business, and I lost $4 million of other people's money from 24 to 26.
Sure.
Didn't take very long to lose a lot of money. And I had no inspiration for what to do next. So I decided to go surfing and pursue what I'm most passionate about, because I believe that when you're indulging yourself in your passions, hopefully your healthy passions, you're turned on and you're most creative, and ideas come to you. Ideas don't come to you sitting in a room thinking of a great idea. It never happens. They come to you out on the road, bumping into people and living your life passionately, and you find inspiration. And the irony was that in planning this 5-month trip around Australia and Indonesia, I actually came up with the idea for my business, which was a wrist camera that I could surf with to document my trip. I saved up $30,000 from my first business, borrowed $35,000 from my mom and a sewing machine to make the very first GoPro, the strap. I hand sewed the original prototypes. Over the next couple of years, to build inventory, my dear old dad lent me $100 grand here and then $100 grand there to build inventory. And we scaled the business off of that. And we learned early on that our international distributors would pay FOB Hong Kong, right? So they would pay when we would ship to them from Hong Kong. So we would, in the day, get paid by our international customers before we even owed the factory the money.
Right.
And we went against the grain, and we built our international business first because they would pay up front. And
That's
we
clever.
used the international revenue to build the domestic business, which is the inverse of what traditional business logic would tell you, which is build your domestic brand first and then take it overseas. But I don't know that that really works this day and age. You pretty much have to build globally quickly, or else somebody else will do it for you. It really helped GoPro that we didn't have to answer to anybody for years. I think an example is when as soon as we could afford it, we bought a race car. And we went racing up at Sonoma Raceway. And, you know, if we'd had investors at that point, they might have questioned, you know, is this really a great use
right.
of company proceeds? And in the end, it led to one of the biggest ideas that we ever had at GoPro, which was to get the camera off of the wrist and make mounting accessories so that you could use the camera, mount the camera in any way imaginable. And the way that that happened was, I was in racing school and they wanted to charge me a bunch of money to put a camera on the car, and I thought, that's crazy. I've got my wrist camera in my trunk of my street car. I went and got it, strapped it to the roll bar, and the light bulb went off, and it was literally like I could see GoPros mounted all over the place, and I got chills. And until then, we had been a little wrist camera company plodding along, and then that was a major hockey stick moment for the company that was totally inspired by climbing into a race car, which is not, you know, what a board of directors would normally think was a great idea.
Pretty fantastic.
I mean, launching with, you know, this was 2004, and to go from this to this, which is now the world's best-selling camera, I mean, this is dream time.
Yeah, sure.
It's all been a dream. We're very careful to be very appreciative for the success that we have right now, but also we still wake up scared every morning that you know, we're smart, but we're not that smart.
Fear is powerful.
Yeah, fear drives you a lot harder than success does.